Okay, today and this week, you are going to be solving quadratic equations. So let's see, let me unfreeze this. And we're going to be solving quadratic functions. All right, we're going to say here that wherever the graph of a quadratic function intersects the x-axis, the function of x is equal to 0. A value of x for which f of x equals 0 is a 0 of the function. When you find the zeros of a function, you're finding the solutions. You're solving the function. So part of this is going to be a expansion off of last week, and then we're going to learn a new technique later on in the week where you can use a different formula to solve some quadratic functions. But for today, you're going to have some problems where you're asked to, or you're going to be asked, what are the solutions? Of each function. Now, the easiest way to find the solutions to a function, well, would be to type it into a graphing calculator, but we're not doing that. So the second easiest way to find the solutions of a function, if we've got x squared minus 5x plus 6 equal to 0, is to factor the function. So what are the solutions of each function? Given this function, you can solve a quadratic by factoring. So you can take this trinomial and factor it the same way you did last week. And this would be x minus 6 and x plus 1. No, it wouldn't. It would be x factors of 6. We need to use the 2 and the 3, right? Yeah. We need x minus 2 and x minus 3. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. Negative 2 plus negative 3 is negative 5. Now, your next step after you have factored this function is to set each factor equal to 0. And you write x minus 2 equals 0 and x minus 3 equals 0. And then you solve each equation. So you can add 2 to each side and your x is equal to positive 2. You can add 3 to each side. And x is equal to positive 3. So those are what are called the solutions, or the zeros of this function right here. This graph, this parabola, is going to hit the x-axis at positive 2 and positive 3. So those are your solutions to the equation. All right, so now you'll get it in that format. You'll get the function in this format. X squared minus 7x is equal to negative 12. When you're given the function in this format, let's get everything, all the terms on one side of the equation. So if you add 12 to each side, what you get is x squared minus 7x plus 12 is equal to 0. And now you factor that trinomial. So double parentheses again. So I'm thinking x minus 4 and x minus 3. Agreed? So then we're going to take x minus 4, make it equal to 0, and x minus 3 equal to 0. And solve each equation. So we can add 4 to each side, and x equals positive 4, and then add 3 to each side. All right, so your solutions are positive 3 and positive 4. Let's say we get 2x squared minus x equal to 3. Same concept, same technique. We got to get all the terms on the same side. So we subtract 3 from each side. And we get 2x squared minus x minus 3 equal to 0. And then we got to factor this trinomial so that we can find the zeros. So here's our matrix. We need a 2x and an x. And then we need a 1 and a 3 put in the correct positions. So let's see, if the 1 probably needs to get multiplied by the 2, and the 3 multiplied by the x. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. 3 times x is 3x. And then 3 times 1 is 3. But we need a negative x in the middle. So this bigger factor needs to be negative, doesn't it? This needs to be a negative 3x. So this needs to be a negative 3. This needs to be a positive 2x. So that needs to be a positive 1. So now here's your factors. 2x minus 3 and x plus 1 equal to 0. Now you set each factor equal to 0 again. So we get 2x minus 3 equals 0 and x plus 1 equals 0. And solve them both. So we get here 2x equals 3 and divide by 2. X equals 3 over 2, or 1.5. And subtract 1 from each side of this one. All right, so here's your two zeros for this function. Positive 3 over 2 and negative 1. And let's say you were to get something like, let's look at 4x squared equals x plus 3. If you get a 4x squared is equal to x plus 3, again, you want all the terms on the left-hand side or all the terms on the same side. So if you subtract x and you subtract 3 from each side, you get 4x squared minus x minus 3 is equal to 0. And then you would have to factor that trinomial using your matrix. Everybody all right with that? Just a couple, maybe one more reminder here. Look, if you get something like 2x squared, don't write this. You don't need to write this. Just watch. If you get 2x squared plus 6x, all right, is equal to negative 4. You can clean this up by dividing both sides by 2, right? And you would have x squared plus 3x equals negative 2. And then you could add 2 to each side, right? And you could be factoring a trinomial with a 1 in front of the x squared. So this would be x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 0. This will be easier to factor than this. All right, so be sure to scan through the problem beforehand to see if you can factor anything else, anything out of the trinomial to make it easier to factor. Because the easier it is to factor, the easier it is to find the zeros. Questions? All right, your practice from today, or practice for today, is going to be on page 229, 9 through 17.